Good morning, children. Yesterday we have completed hybridization topic. What is meant by hybridization? How many types of hybridizations are there? And their examples in detail we have studied. Now today a new topic called as chemical properties of ionic compounds as well as covalent compounds we will study. What are chemical properties of ionic compounds as well as covalent compounds? First of all, coming toward ionic compounds. What are ionic compounds? The electrostatic force of attraction between oppositely charged ions, that is cation as well as anion, when they are, the electrostatic force of attraction between those two ions held together allows the two ions to be held together to form one bond or a compound is called as ionic compound. Best example for that one is sodium ion reacting with chlorine ion gives rise to sodium chloride molecule and ionic compound. Coming to covalent compound. What are called as covalent compounds? Covalent compounds are the compounds formed when mutual sharing of valency electrons between two atoms to attain duplet configuration or octet configuration. To attain octet configuration or duplet configuration, valency electrons will be sharing between two individual atoms. Sharing of electrons between two individual atoms of valency electron to attain stability such as duplet configuration as well as octet configuration. What else the compounds will form? That compounds are called as covalent compound. Example, hydrogen molecule is an example. Chlorine molecule is also an example here. Hydrogen molecule to attain duplet configuration, it is combining two hydrogens sharing individually those two valence electron to attain stability. Chlorine molecule 3pz orbital is having unpaired electron between two chlorine atoms as they are sharing together, so that what happened, octet configuration can be get formed, that is covalent compounds. Next point within the ionic compounds is what? It is the strongest bond. Due to electrostatic force of attraction between oppositely charged ions, it is much more strongest bond, we can call it. Next one is what? It is a weakest bond. Why it is called as weakest bond? The bond is taking place between hydrogen or chlorine sharing of electrons, mutually sharing of valence electron to attain stability, that is called as what? Due to that nature it is called as weakest bond. It can be formed within solids, it can form liquids as well as gases. As it is the strongest bond, more melting point, high melting point will be existing for ionic compounds. When it comes to covalent compound, as it is a weakest bond, weak bond between two individual atoms, valence electrons when they are overlapping. As it is weak, it is having low melting point. Next point is what? It has high boiling point, it has low boiling point. Next point is what? Within this particular reaction takes place very fastly, within fraction of seconds, within instantaneous time, this reaction can be complete. Whereas this reaction can be take place in a moderate way, it can be taken place, as well as slowly the reaction can be taken place. Coming to ionic compounds, these ionic compounds are soluble in polar solvents such as water, ammonium solution as well as hydrogen trifluoride. Next thing is what? When it comes to covalent compounds, these are soluble in non-polar solvents such as benzene, dimethyl chloride molecules. By this we have completed what? Chemical properties of ionic compounds as well as covalent compounds we have completed. Okay children, after completion of properties of ionic compounds as well as covalent compounds, next we will go through with what? Polar covalent bond formation. How a polar covalent bond will be get formed. This polar covalent bond has both characteristics of ionic nature, ionic bond nature as well as covalent bond nature, or else we can also call these particular molecules as intermediate molecules also we can call it up. Intermediate molecules having both nature of ionic bond nature as well as covalent bond nature. Best example to explain this particular polar covalent bond is formation of hydrogen molecule. How a hydrogen molecule will be get formed? If you go through into this particular element, hydrogen chloride is hydrogen chloride molecule in which hydrogen is there as well as chlorine is there. If you go for hydrogen, his atomic number is 1, electronic configuration is 1s1, having a lone pair and having an unpaired electron whose electron negativity is very low. Low electron negativity nature is existing. Coming to chlorine. Coming to chlorine element, whose atomic number is 17, electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. In third shell, if it is having 7 electrons, it required for electron there. 3pz orbital is having unpaired electron, where 3pz is having unpaired electron, and this chlorine atom is having high electron negativity. To form a bond, to form a covalent bond or ionic bond, electron negativity will play a vital role. Already we have studied. So here to form a bond, here chlorine atom is required much more eagerly as it is having high electron negativity. It wants to share its electron. It wants to share the electron, and it is having 7 electrons in valence shell and it is having 1 electron in valence shell. If you compare these two things, 7 electrons are greater than that of 1 electron. If you give tug-of-war between these two electrons, as it is having 7 electrons, more electrons are there, it will easily drag 1 electron towards itself. So that due to that nature, it is having high electronegativity and low electronegativity for hydrogen. As it is having 7 electrons, easily it can attract or drag that 1 electron towards itself. So what happens, as it is dragging towards itself, this electron of hydrogen, it also wants to share electron. To share the electron, it will easily move towards chlorine atom to form partially positive charge as well as partially negative charge. So that hydrogen, when hydrogen is reacting with chlorine to form hydrogen chloride molecule, hydrogen molecule is attaining partial positive charge. Chlorine molecule is attaining partial negative charge, so that it is forming a molecule. That molecule is called as hydrogen chloride molecule, in which nature positive partial positive charge, partial negative charge is existing, and a bond formed between them is called as what? Covalent bond. Therefore, ionic nature as well as covalent nature is existing. Therefore, we can call polar covalent compound is an intermediate state bond between ionic bond as well as covalent bond. Diagrammatically, if I want to explain, hydrogen, which is a low electron negativity having 1 electron in its valence shell. Chlorine having 3pz orbital in valence shell, 7 electrons are existing. So it is more requirement it is want to attain soon, much more easily, eagerly it want to be for attain octet configuration, and it is having more strength of electronegativity. It will drag this hydrogen electron, the electron is existing in hydrogen towards itself and form a molecule called as hydrogen chloride molecule. As it is forming hydrogen chloride molecule, they attain partial positive charge as well as partial negative charge. Hydrogen attain partial positive charge, chlorine attain partial negative charge. Due to that nature, it is forming a compound called as polar covalent compound. What would be the worksheet of this particular two topics? A straightforward question, direct question they can ask, what are the chemical properties differentiate or compare chemical properties of ionic compounds as well as covalent compound. Directly he may ask, or individually he may ask for 1 mark question or 2 mark question. Why the melting point of ionic bond is high? Why the melting point of covalent bond is low? Due to strong electrostatic force of attraction between the opposite charged ions, it is having high melting point. To break that particular bond, we require a lot of energy there. Due to that reason, it requires high melting point there. Whereas here, as the bond between that particular covalent bond is much more weaker compared to that of ionic bond, so that to break that particular point, it requires little bit amount of energy. Due to that reason, low melting point is required. In that particular way, he may ask question. Any one particular, in which solvent they can be soluble for 1 mark questions for ionic compounds. In which substances they can be get soluble. Whether covalent compounds are fast reactions or slow reactions, or ionic compounds are fast reactions or slow reactions. In that particular way, he asked regarding direct question of 4 marks or individually a point from this particular one you can extract, you can take out and you can ask for 1 mark or 2 marks. Coming to polar covalent bond, this polar covalent bond concept can be asked for 2 marks direct question. What is polar covalent bond? What is the best example for, and explain the formation of polar covalent bond by using hydrogen chloride molecule. Then if you explain this particular topic, this total concept, easily you can get a 2 marks question. So children, by this we have completed our chapter called as covalent chemical bonding. Tomorrow we'll come across, we'll go a brief, a little bit. Tomorrow we will study about the total concepts, what are the important topics. We will revise that particular chapter once again in next class, and be well prepared for exam. All the best. Thank you.